I've been playing One Piece Bounty Rush since 2020, and there's things I've seen change, evolve, or completely be added into the game that didn't exist before. Whether it was small visual changes or pretty big quality of life changes, a lot of these things the newer players might not know because you guys didn't see what it was like before. What's going on, guys? So today, as you can tell by the title and thumbnail, we're going to be talking about 10 things that only OG players will remember in One Piece Bounty Rush. And no, we're not going to be talking about the OG version of Bounty Rush, which is in 2018, and that was before they re-released it and dropped it on the App Store and Play Store again. But the OG version, if you played that, man, like, I don't know, you're a different breed, bro. You're a different breed. But with all that being said, let's get into the first change that only OG players remember. And there's no particular order to this. It's just 10 things that I thought you guys will remember. So let's get to it. Although one of the best parts about Bounty Rush is the actual gameplay when you're cooking people, or maybe even getting cooked and your teammates sell your matches, is fine. It happens. But besides that, a huge part of Bounty Rush is its gacha aspect. Since most gacha games want you to summon a lot on their characters, they usually make the summon animations very appealing. As you know, right now the summon animations are pretty robust and like flashy, I'd say, because you have the Grove system where it's 32, 27, or 14, and depending on which one of those it is, it'll let you know how lucky you are. And with each of those groves, there's corresponding bubbles. So if it's 32, there's a lot of bubbles. If it's 27, there's a little amount of bubbles, and then 14 you get like no bubbles. But even when you get 32, it's not guaranteed that you will get a character. It's when you get 32 and you get a gold chest and you get a gold flag. So all these little systems make it so flashy, and it appeals to the players because they want to summon more. It's almost as if you're going to the casino and actually about to gamble. That's kind of what gacha games like to do with their summoning screens and stuff. But did you know originally the summon animations weren't as crazy as they are now? They did have the straw hat animation that gets you super excited when all the straw hats come, but it was pretty basic. Originally there wasn't really no depth to it. It was just like a white background. There was still like gold and stuff, but not a huge mountain of gold in like an orange Saboti archipelago arena. And of course the summon animations now are amazing, but something about the OG ones just hit different. Moving on to the next thing that only OG players remember is another visual change that could also maybe pass as a quality of life. And the thing that we're talking about is the match loading screen, or the medal screen, whatever screen that is when you're loading into a league battle match or a challenge battle match, and you see all your team and then you see the enemy team. The countdown itself and also the transitions and stuff like that have stayed the same, where they show your party power. However, the thing that they have changed is the medal part of it, because now if you notice, you will see even like people's championship little silver badge, or maybe the gold badge if you come across one of the sweats. And you'll also see all the character details, whether they're 5-star or 6-star, what medals they have, all that, their character boost, and also the player's hyper boost, which is all really cool because in that one screen you could pretty much get all the information you need to know about that player and be like, all right, yo, this guy's a strong player, I'm gonna need to really try hard now. But back in the day, that sound like a onk for real. Back in the day, all they had was just the medals and the character boost. So you wouldn't know if they're 5-star. I mean, you could tell if they're 5-star or 6-star based on how much medals they have. If they had 3 medals, you'll know they're 6-star, or if they had 2 medals, you'll know they're 5-star. Back then, Hyper Boost and Championship didn't exist, so it makes sense that they don't have a spot for the Hyper Boost area or that crazy border that we have now for the Championship as well. But they just had medals. They didn't even know your stars or anything like that. It looked pretty cool because it was just out in the open. But when us players originally saw the change, it was definitely a very cool moment because, of course, in OPBR, the majority of your time playing the game is just playing league matches and stuff. You're always playing a match, or at least I always play matches during my streams and stuff. Because of that, you're definitely seeing that screen a lot. So when it got updated originally, we were like, yo, this is sick. Like, it looks really cool. It definitely looks really cool. Moving on to the next thing that only OG players will remember was a very well needed change. And this change is actually the knockdown glitch. It got fixed. Now I'm playing, bro. Imagine. Tana P, when you gonna fix the knockdown glitch, bro? But nah, for real, the change that I'm talking about, I'm sure even a lot of the OGs forgot about, and that is the meat despawn animation. Pause. Y'all have it good nowadays, bro. Y'all actually have it so good nowadays. Nowadays, you have low health. You're like, oh, meat over there is pretty far away. I don't know if I'll make it, but you know what? Let me go try. Like, and then you start seeing it flashing. You're like, oh, it's about to go away, but I think I could make it. Boom, grab it just in time. Or you see it flash, and then you're like, you know what? That's a waste of time. Like, I'm not gonna walk all the way over there. But nah, back in the day, bro, there was no animation. There was no animation. You be out here low as hell on HP. You see a meat over there. You're like, okay, let me go grab that real quick. I'm gonna get some heals. And just when you're about to grab it, boom, it disappears. And next thing you know, you get one shot by Sky Zoro because this dude was actually pretty broken back in the day. Yeah, definitely not speaking from experience. It was honestly so nice that they added that because not only is it a visual change, I'd say this is also a quality of life change because that was so annoying, bro. It was so annoying. But yeah, man, that's one thing I'm super happy that they changed. The next thing that only OG players remember, the Luchi Bug. The Luchi Bug was hectic times, man. Bounty Rush has had its plenty of hectic times. Even now, it gets hectic. But one of the most hectic things in Bounty Rush was when the Luchi Bug occurred. This was the original Luchi incident. We'll call it the CP9 Luchi incident. The Awakened Luchi incident, we just don't mention. We don't talk about it. But the original Luchi incident was causing mayhem across the OPBR community. People were spawning into the league match and getting one-tapped as soon as the match started. Pretty much what was happening is that Luchi had a bug. When you target one of the enemies by clicking their character icon on the top right, it allowed you to auto-target them across the map when you did Luchi skill 2. It's pretty much a cross-map Q-gun, which players were abusing as soon as the match started. Bandai ended up fixing it, but it was definitely something to remember. Moving on to the fifth thing that only OG players will remember. And since we are halfway through the list, make sure you guys hit that like button if you are enjoying it. If we hit 2,000 likes, I might consider making a part 2 because that shows me that you guys are enjoying this type of video. This next thing isn't really a quality of life change and it isn't really a visual change, but rather a gameplay change, I'd say. The change I'm talking about is the event medal shop. I know that this shop costs $3 to actually get access to, and it pretty much resets every week. So if you want one of the event medals that is in the weekly cycle, you'll have to purchase the event medal pass in order to get access to that week's event medal shop. Although this feature is hidden behind a paywall, it is a change nonetheless because back in the day, we had no way in order to get any of the event medals. So if you missed the event medal, it was gone. You would never be able to get it again. For example, the Lucy medal, which is really nice for runners, and also the Shiryu medal, which is amazing for crit-based attackers. You would instead have to work with alternative medals that come out, and a lot of the times the alternative medals that came out weren't as strong as the actual original ones that dropped. That's why I am grateful that they implemented this feature, even though it is hidden behind a paywall. Luckily, it's not too expensive, and you only have to purchase it for that 1 week that you see the specific medal that you want. Moving on to the next thing that only OG players will remember, we have party names. I don't know if you guys personally use the feature itself, but each of the 5 parties we have, you could go ahead and name them whatever you want. I know some players don't care for it, even some of the OG players don't. For example, Yenny, I've seen her account, she just doesn't have any party names because she doesn't really care for it. But me personally, I think it's a cool way to label your teams. I originally had it to label my teams until it just got super messy and it just kind of became just like random titles for my parties. But did you know originally there wasn't actually a way to change any of these party names? So this was a cool little quality of life change that we saw, which allows us to be a little more organized, I guess, with our teams, which is definitely something I personally appreciate. I don't know about everyone, I can't speak for everyone else, but it's a cool little feature. While we're on the topic of the party system, Tana P, please add more parties, bro. 5 is not enough. We even got more colors. We have red, blue, green, and now we got light and dark. That's already 5. What if I need a challenge battle team? What if I need like multiple teams with other supports and stuff? It just doesn't work, bro. So add more parties, come on. And speaking of Tana P, this is actually a perfect segue onto our next thing only OG players remember, and that is Goso. I can't believe I said thing. I'm sorry, Goso. You're not a thing. Goso, bro. I miss Goso. A lot of y'all might know LP and Yuka-chan and Gorgeous that always pull up alongside Tana P for all these OPBR live streams that we get for EX reveals and stuff like that. But what y'all know about my boy Goso, man? This was the original. I believe he was like the co-producer and Tana P was the chief producer of Bounty Rush. But he had to step aside. He had other things to do, maybe bigger and better things. I don't know what Goso's really doing now, but that man was so chill to see at the streams and stuff. I'm not saying like I don't. LP is cool, and I definitely love the dynamic they have with their whole Bounty Rush team, and I do think they're a very solid group. But I just miss my man Goso, man. Like only the OGs will know. Like this is definitely something only the OGs will know. That boy Goso. Moving on to number 8 of the list, we have a couple of OG YouTubers that only OG players really will remember, and that is Shanks and Hub Gang. They were the OPBR YouTubers back then. And if you guys are watching right now, Shanks, Hub Gang, y'all were my goats, bro. I appreciate y'all for everything you did for OPBR back then. And hey man, I had to carry on the legacy type shit. I would say Shanks was a big inspiration for this channel because he kind of covered all the information and news that came out in OPBR, and that's something I like to do as well. Like I like to definitely make sure I cover everything OPBR before I do like extra videos and stuff like that. And Hub Gang was a big inspiration for gameplay OPBR wise. That was the guy I watched for like just straight raw gameplays. Like I wanted to see like pro gameplay, and that was the guy to go to, bro. Like no commentary, just straight cooking people no matter what it was. Like he would just be cooking people. My first ever encounter with Hub Gang was when I matched with him in League Battle. During this time, Blackbeard was a menace. Blackbeard and Shanks era, right? But not only that, this dude had 18% medals, which were actually bugged. What I mean by that is a lot of you know now 70% is the cap for any of the medal traits. So HP, you could only go up to 70%. Even if you have more than that for the traits, it'll be capped at 70. Same with attack, same with defense. But back then when 18% medals came out, they actually stacked on top of regular traits. So if you had 18% defense, it wouldn't cap with the regular like 14% defense. So you could have a bunch of 14% defense that go up to 70 and then put even more 18% on top of that, which was just insane. So when I first encountered this dude Hub Gang, yo, he was unkillable. He just like did his normal attack walk with Blackbeard, just right? He pulling up with Blackbeard and boom, he's at our spawn flag, runner Blackbeard, like the original runner Blackbeard, and he would just steal your flag. There's nothing you could do about it. He just sits there and takes your flag. And I remember at that time he was the #1 player in League Battle, so he was crazy. He wasn't no hacker or nothing. It wasn't the game, but it was the craziest experience I ever had when I first started Bounty Rush. Bringing it back to the game itself, the next thing that only OG players will remember is the original profile screen and home screen. For the home screen, they made it a lot more neat now because everything's grouped up in a little daily button, which you click and then you see all your daily stuff, like your special training, your actual missions themselves, and treasure chance, daily treasure chance, all that. But before, they actually just had special training out in the open, and then the missions themselves out in the open, and then they had like a random solo missions tab that it's like, I don't know why you would need the solo missions there. Of course, now you could find the solo missions when you click battle start, and there you'll also find the private battles with the, private battles and the room matches, which didn't even exist at all back in the day. And of course, you'll find the championship and the challenge battle in this screen. But before, there was just League Battle and Challenge Battle. That's it. That's it, because the solo button was originally in the home screen and all that. So it was a lot different before, bro. So seeing all the changes now is super cool. And of course, the biggest change, the profile screen itself. Before, it wasn't even a profile screen. It was more so just a pop-up. Whether you clicked your profile in the home screen itself, or if you click someone's profile in the league match, it would just be a pop-up that shows you their comment, their player ID, ID, their league. It showed pretty much all the information that you would want to see, but the major highlight of it was the 2D character art that you could pick. Now, as you guys know, it's an actual screen itself. So even in the leaderboard screen, when you're clicking a random player's profile, it takes you to a whole different screen instead of just a random pop-up. And this screen, the main focus now is the actual 3D characters that you could choose. You could put 1, 2, or even 3 characters in here and just have them all like styling out, like all angled up, posing up and all that. So I would say this is a very cool change, but the original definitely had its little charm to it. I feel like the 2D images meant a little more with that because you could flex your 2D images. Now it's just all about the 3D. Last but not least, for our 10 things that only OG players will remember, we have one of my favorite changes in the game that ever happened, and it is the character boost and medal upgrade quality of life changes. It is so good. Before, when you had to boost to a character, it would be the most painstaking task ever. I would literally complain about it every time I would have to boost to a character, and I would just literally be begging Tana P to add a feature that would just boost all. You could just boost all the boosts and make your life a lot easier. But no, you would have to sit there clicking every single boost one, and then the boost one itself, and then every single boost two, and then the boost two itself, and it would just be the most tedious thing ever, man. Eventually Tana P listened and he added it where you could just click boost two, and then boom, it boosted all the way up, and even boost forward. If you have all the materials, you could just do it, it would just save so much time. As for the medal upgrades, they weren't as crazy because I didn't upgrade my medals all the way to max all the time, but there are moments where I would have to binge out a medal. For example, if I want to use a lot of my hammers, I would just go ahead and triple upgrade medals. But before, you would have to sit there and upgrade the first one, and then the second, and then the third trait of it, each separately, which would take super long if you're bulk upgrading medals, or if you're trying to upgrade a bunch of event medals last minute. Definitely not speaking from experience again. Yeah, that would be very annoying. But now you could use the nice little slider, slide it all the way up, and click OK to upgrade all 3 traits at the same time. Definitely some amazing quality of life changes, and also the visual changes that we talked about. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the 10 things that only OG players remember list. Make sure you guys hit the like button if you did enjoy. Get it to 2,000 likes if you guys want a part 2, because there's definitely a lot more changes that I didn't talk about yet. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, join the Discord of course, and I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace.